So PAX East 2020 just wrapped up this past Sunday, and I wanted to make a video showing you guys some of the best new games to keep your eye on, as well as some games that you might want to stay away from. Unfortunately, due to coronavirus concerns, several developers and publishers, including Sony, stayed away from the event, meaning that there were a bit less games on display this time around. But I still played a good amount of new titles, so I'm more than ready to make this video. I'm going to break this up into 3 easy sections. Section 1, the best stuff I played that you should definitely look out for. Section 2, the stuff that was pretty good but I would need to see more of. And Section 3, the stuff that wasn't so great. So without further ado, let's get right into it, starting with the best games of PAX 2020. First up has to be Doom Eternal. I've been saying it for a while that this game looks next level, and after having played the first 20 minutes of it, I can confirm that it is everything I was looking for. Doom 2016 was already one of the best shooters ever made, and somehow Doom Eternal makes that game look like a prototype. The weapons feel crunchier, the new abilities feel like they will add so much more to the movement and navigation, and the details when killing enemies are insane. This is going to be a Game of the Year contender, mark my words. After that, there's Ghostrunner, which is a parkour-based melee game set in a cyberpunk world. I saw a demo for it a while back, and it looked interesting, but I was worried how the game would actually feel, particularly when it came to wall running. Would it feel smooth and effortless, or would it be stiff and kind of feel like your character just snapped to the wall? Thankfully, after playing the demo myself, I can confirm that it was really smooth, and it has me very excited to see more. Structure and pacing could be potential issues, but I'm still really looking forward to this game, and you should be too. Then there's Outriders, a game whose recent demo caused a little bit of concern that it might be another generic Destiny-style looter shooter. But at PAX this year, 2 of the lead devs hosted a panel talking about the game a bit more in depth, and afterwards, I was a lot more confident and really excited. The gunplay looks solid overall, but the issue with the demo was that the environment and weapons looked a bit bland. But in the panel this weekend, they showed off a lot more variety in the characters, the worlds, and the weapons, as well as talked about how this was not going to be a live service, and rather a straightforward game with a definitive start and end, and no microtransactions. It also features co-op, and I am definitely looking forward to jumping in with a few friends when it releases at the end of the year. Lastly, we have the Artful Escape, a multi-dimensional platformer where the music from your guitar changes the world around you. It also has some basic rhythm game mechanics where you have to play the correct notes in order to progress. It seems to be a simple game that is more about the artistic experience as opposed to gameplay, but thankfully the art and music were really good. I loved being able to freely play the guitar and kind of make my own soundtrack as I traveled along, and I'm really looking forward to checking out the full game. Now we get to the section of games that were either flawed but had potential, or I didn't see enough to fully determine my thoughts, but I still wanted to mention them. First up is Maquette, a first-person puzzle game set in this colorful, imaginative world. I wasn't able to play it myself, but the great visuals and interesting puzzle elements that I saw had me very interested. So even though I can't speak on the quality of it firsthand, it is something that definitely caught my eye, and I can't wait to see more of it. Next up is Fallen Angel, a top-down action game set in a twisted version of heaven. This game is actually made by a friend of mine at Drexel University, but any personal bias aside, I do think the game looks pretty solid so far. Progression and balance can always end up being an issue with games like this, but based on the demo, the combat was simple but satisfying and the art was great, so I certainly think it's worth mentioning here. And then there's Ministry of Broadcast, a 2D platformer set in a dystopian world where everything is broadcast to a reality TV show. It has a lot of really good dark humor, and I enjoyed the overall vibe of the game. Some of the platforming felt a bit finicky, but I still really enjoyed my time with it, and if you're interested in seeing the full thing, it is actually recently released on PC for $14.99. And lastly, I want to give a brief shout out to Scene Investigations, a realistic detective sim game that unfortunately doesn't have any gameplay online, but you can check out the Painscreek Killings, which was the studio's first game, because I've played both and I can tell you that they're similar mechanically. The Scene Investigations has some technical issues, but I did have fun with the demo and I look forward to seeing the final release. First up in the bad category is Those Who Remain. This is a game that was frankly abysmal on all fronts. I just don't know any other way to put it. I played for about 20 minutes and I think I disliked every single aspect of it. From the technical issues like the lack of anti-aliasing at all, I mean seriously, how did you look at this and think that was okay? And the Unity FPS stutter that so many devs still seem to be unable to solve, to the god-awful UI, the bad lighting, terrible story structure, and hilariously bad voice acting.
That's my car. Come back! Damn it!
I don't know how this got approved by a relatively notable publisher like Wired Productions, but this shit was just straight ass. It's coming out in May, and if this is the state it's in now, I don't see any reality where this game ends up being good. And lastly, we have Cloudpunk, a game that wasn't like outright terrible or anything like Those Who Remain, but it just was so bland. It's got some really cool visuals with this nice pixelated sci-fi city, but the gameplay was so boring. I played the demo for about 15 minutes and all I did was fly around, deliver an unknown package to some random NPC, and then repeat. But it wasn't anything like Death Stranding, where the terrain is a big puzzle that you have to navigate. It was just literally following the marker on your minimap, clicking a button, and then doing it again. The game says that there are some important decisions to make and a crazy mystery to unravel, but based on how brief and uninteresting the character interactions in the demo were, I am not very optimistic for the release. Maybe it gets better, but the demo did not make a good impression on me. Alright, that's going to do it for this year's PAX video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to subscribe and check out my game reviews, as well as the trailer for my own upcoming game, The Silence of Ember County. We should hopefully have more stuff coming for the game in the next few months, and we're looking to have a demo out around June, as well as a more accurate release date by then. I'm also finally getting together my 2019 Game Awards video. I know it's late as hell, but I still want to get it out anyway, so stay tuned. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.